Hey everybody. So we're just continuing on our little YouTube series here. So yeah, like we talked about last time, there's going to be a lot of different types of videos that we're going to kind of shuffle through, or a handful of different types of videos, I should say. So today, with the time of year, I'm big into goal setting. And today I figured it would be a good time to chat about goal setting and stuff like that. So not that I'm necessarily the best guy to talk about setting goals or achieving goals, but I've done a lot of work on, like, in the personal development sense, to try and figure out my goals, like the reason why I do things, my why, and that kind of stuff. So and I've learned quite a bit, and there's definitely some little wisdom nuggets out there that I would love to share with you guys. The reason I'm doing it right now and not early January is because, and like I'll talk about in a second, a key to goal setting is to set goals, not always to set goals when you're super motivated. So I am very motivated January 1st. I think most people are. It's very easy to set goals on January 1st. And you're like, new year, new me, I'm gonna hit the gym, I'm gonna eat right, I'm gonna sleep better, I'm gonna work better, everything. But for me, it's very important to set goals when the mood isn't so optimistic, I guess you could say. So typically I set my goals November 16th. So that is actually the year end. So November 15th is our Royallepage national year end. So that's when our year end kind of starts, or our new year starts. All of our Royallepage goals and production goals start on the November 16th. So I usually set my goals on November 16th for that range. It gives me kind of a new fresh year, but it's not as exciting as January 1st. And then I find, for me, it's important to revisit goals often. So especially right now, you know, we're 3-4 weeks into the year. Everything is a little bit less exciting. Everybody kind of gets like a little bit of the blues as we're coming into the year. It's everything is kind of, weather is kind of gloomy and muddy outside and still kind of cold. You can't go outside, it's all icy. So it's really, for me, it's a great time to revisit the goals, get amped up and get ready to keep pushing to achieve our goals. So I'd love to share with you a little bit. So often, you know, a lot of people know about SMART goals. So the acronym SMART goals spells out specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based goals. So that's definitely the outline for writing goals. I won't go into that in depth right now because I think I got a couple other points that I'd love to share with you guys. And we will share a SMART goals writing template in the video as well. We'll put some links of some cool stuff just so you guys can revamp or redo your goals here now with a little bit of additional help. So one thing about setting goals, again, the importance of writing and sharing. So I always write my goals, I share my goals. It's very important to have an accountability partner or accountability group. So as far as my personal goals, I have accountability partners. As far as my business goals, I have an accountability group that we meet up and we discuss what we're doing, how we're working towards those goals, and how we're striving to achieve those goals. And then we discuss our rewards as well, which I'll touch on in a bit. So very important when you're writing to do short, mid, and long-term goals. So long-term could be considered, depending on what you want in life or what stage you're at. Long-term could be 1 year, 5 years, 15 years. For me, we'll focus today on short, mid, and long-term. So the short and the mid-term goals are very important to start momentum. Start the ball rolling. The mid ones are maybe a couple months out, so you can really develop those habits. They say, I think it takes 21 days to start a habit. Realistically, you know, for me, I find it's longer than that. It's 2-3 months before something is actually formed into a habit. And the 10-day goals, short goals, are really good just to get the ball rolling. Just get that momentum started, just small achievable goals. You know, many of you know I write notes for real estate just to kind of show appreciation, just to follow up with people. So for me, to achieve my business goals, I go back to the activity of writing notes. So if I need to get back on track, I'll set a goal of I'm going to write 3-5 notes a day for the next 10 days. And then all of a sudden that just gets the ball rolling for me. And again, to share those goals and share those and track those goals, as we said, make your goals measurable, because you can't improve something you can't measure. You need to start with a benchmark before you can actually change it and improve it. So second, which is a really valuable point that has taken me a long time to figure out, but to focus on small changes that you can do forever. So I listen often to a lot of my friends and people close to me are going to get annoyed by this, but I listen to Mind Pump podcast. If you hang out with me outside of work, I'm usually talking about Mind Pump. I found they have a lot of really valuable information to share. One thing they really focuses on, and of course they're discussing fitness goals, but it applies to every circle of life, really focusing on small achievable actions that you can do for the rest of your life. So for instance, with regards to my fitness and personal goals, I've focused on reducing my commitment, because if I commit to exercising 2 days a week or not making drastic changes in my diet, it's way easier for me to stick to those. It's something that I can see myself doing forever, because really consistency is the key in life improvement and achieving your goals, just to stay consistent. So if it's something as easy as just putting one workout in, or I've shared my, to get back on track with fitness as well, for the longest time, I've had the goal of, maybe I should go back. I used to work out in a gym and now I work out at home. And it's very hard to get motivated to do a workout at home. So now, for a long time before, my goal was to put on my workout shoes. Seems like a pretty easy task, but if I'm gonna commit to putting on workout shoes 3 or 4 times a week, it's gonna put me in that space, and then very often I'm not going to just put my shoes on and take them right off. I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna get active, and that's how you build towards achieving those goals. Similar right now, I want to focus on reading more. So again, I'm not gonna commit to reading 2 chapters a day, but I've committed to reading every single day. It might just be 1 sentence in a book, but at least then it gets me started and it gets me reading. So I find that's very important, and it makes it a lot easier to achieve those goals. It's very easy to read 1 sentence or commit to reading 1 sentence, but typically you're gonna read a page or 2 or maybe even a chapter, and then all of a sudden you're reading more than what you've committed to. Lastly, for me, very important to journal. When I journal, I focus on wins, because again, you need to be kind to yourself. Everybody's gonna have good days, everybody's gonna have bad days. Again, we'll go back to fitness goals. There's gonna be days where I eat a bunch of pizza. Maybe I have a couple beer, and that's totally fine. But it is important to not get down on yourself, because everybody has good days, bad days, and again, you wanna make consistent change for the rest of your life. So if you have a bad day, if you fall off, if you forget to write your nose, if you forget to make your sales calls, or if you indulge in pizza and beer after a hockey game, whatever it is, just kind of give yourself some credit, go back to your accountability partner, and if you have a good accountability partner, they're probably gonna be great at saying, I'm glad you enjoyed your pizza, I'm glad you enjoyed your beer, good for you, let's get back on track, tomorrow's gonna be a better day, and then you're hitting the ground running and you're on your way. But again, focus on those daily wins, be kind to yourself, because you are always your worst critic. I struggle with this all the time. I'm always my worst critic. I'm always hard on myself. And you got to focus on, talking to yourself nicely, because a lot of times I say things to myself that I would never let somebody else say to me. So we got to make sure we're focusing on being kind to ourselves as well as others, obviously. So so hopefully this wasn't too dry, too boring. I got some more stuff here, but honestly, I'll just if anybody wants to reach out to me, this is something that I'm kind of passionate about. So I'd love to have a quick chat with you. Just to recap, write them down, write the goals down, do small changes to create momentum, and be kind to yourself. It's all a process. The only gauge that you should use to see if you're growing is the person you were yesterday. Don't worry about Facebook or social media or anything like that. Focus on you, and if you're a better person than you were yesterday, you're on your way to achieving all your goals. So thanks very much for hanging out with me for a couple minutes. I've actually found this quite fun, as awkward as it might seem when I'm just sitting by myself in a dark room. I appreciate you guys tagging along. I appreciate all the positive words that I got after the last video and stuff. It's super cool to see that everybody's enjoying this stuff. Also we'll put a couple links of a couple things. So there's just going back to the small changes, there's a book called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. We'll add a link to a book. We'll add a link to that Mind Pump Fitness podcast that I love, as well as some templates and stuff for some smart goal setting. So we'll put that in the links below. And again, thanks very much for following along, and we'll chat with you soon.